through before we officially start. This meeting is live on Comcast Local Channel 27 and on the Pacific Coast TV's website. We have several community members in attendance this evening. So just to review for the attendees, the Planning Commission Chair will open and allow public comment prior to any specific items. The Chair will also open a public comment for each specific item that is listed on the agenda. During that time, if you would like to speak, I will recognize you by you raising your virtual hand icon, and I will assist the Chair in public comment. You can, if you're on the phone this evening, you can push *6 to mute and unmute and *9 to raise your hand and unraise your hand. Otherwise, tablets, phones, and iPads will have your little virtual hand raising icon. You'll be given 3 minutes of time for each commenter, and the timer will show up on the screen. Public comment this evening that was submitted after the agenda was published was 1, and it's posted on the city's website on the agenda packet, last thing on the agenda, as well as we emailed the Planning Commission this evening. If we also, we also have revised minutes, just to remind you that 11:22 minutes just got revised. There's some red lines on page 3 to review. We are doing Spanish translation currently, so we'll provide that at the meeting. I thank you for your patience, and we'll now hand over the meeting to Chair Gordon to officially start.
Thank you, Bridget. To start, can you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Bridget, if you could do a roll call.
Yes, Commissioner Reddick.
I am here.
Commissioner Gossett.
Here.
Vice Chair Hernandez. I think we might have lost again, and he got.
Participants, I can turn him.
Yeah, I'm moving him right now, and he jumped. He raised his hand, so
okay.
He's here. And then Chair Gorn.
I am here.
Okay, let's just see how. Here he is.
There's.
Vice
I am present.
Yes, we have 4 commissioners present this evening.
Okay. So.
Yeah.
So before we get started, we are short one commissioner. Commissioner Jimmy Benjamin has resigned, and I am just wanted to announce it at the start of the meeting. I'm personally very sorry to see him go. I think in many ways, Commissioner Benjamin was the ideal planning commissioner because he could parse out any detail. And since Planning Commission is all about the details, I really don't know anybody who could get into the details as well as Commissioner Benjamin. So personal loss, but I think it's actually a big loss for the city. I think I think Commissioner Benjamin started in, I want to say 1999. I think that's right. That's 23 years ago. And that is a lot of service. That is a lot of work. And I wanted to thank him for those years and all the work he has done. He's served with grace and dignity. He always had a lot to say on every subject, but he also listened, which is rare. So really appreciate him and what he's done here. I hope the person who replaces him is half as good as him. Commissioner Reddick?
Oh, well said, Chair Gorn. I wanted to add my appreciation of Commissioner Benjamin's service to the city over the years and all the value he's brought to the Planning Commission. On a personal note, when I started on the Planning Commission nearly 4 years ago, Commissioner Benjamin was super generous with his time and sharing of his years of experience and expertise. He and Director Ekus were the two people who helped me move up the learning curve as rapidly as I was able to. And I echo your words about the city will miss Commissioner Benjamin's value added. I take solace in the belief that he will still continue to be very involved in Half Moon Bay's affairs, and the Half Moon Bay will be better for that.
I share these comments, and I had the pleasure of serving on the subcommittee for the land use plan with Commissioner Benjamin, and we got a great deal of work done, and he has made an outstanding contribution to the city of Half Moon Bay.
Commissioner Gossett, you have your hand up.
Yes, and I would also like to echo what my fellow commissioners said about Commissioner Benjamin. He has been so helpful to me as the new commissioner, and I really appreciate his generosity of time and intellect to help me become a junior new planning commissioner. And I'm enjoying learning from all of you fellow commissioners, and I think Jimmy will still be around contributing in his wonderful way. And Half Moon Bay has been very lucky to have him through the years. Thank you, Jimmy. We're going to miss you at the meetings.
Thank you. We're going to move on without him. We have to start with the minutes. We have actually two sets of minutes. I don't know what's on the agenda first, but I assume it's the 10:25 minutes. Take a look. Well, first up actually is the 11:22. Those are revised minutes. I assume that all the commissioners got a chance to see the redlined minutes, the corrected minutes. Does anyone have questions or concerns? Particularly if you didn't see them, let me know. If they're all good, we can take a motion. Winter, can we take a motion on both at the same time, the 10:25 and 11:22?
I believe that the 10:25, we had some issues in terms of who was actually present.
Right, we did.
And I think also, Chair Gorn, you were not present for the entirety of last meeting. Right. So I'm not sure if you feel like you can opine on the accuracy of last meeting's minutes. And we may now have a bit of a conundrum because I can't remember who was present at the meeting before that, and we really needed all three people.
Well, it says so in the minutes.
Through the chair, we're going to need two motions for the 20-second minutes because Commissioner Gossett recused for the first item, and then you were gone for the second item. So I think you have a quorum for each set, but maybe you could take it as the first half and the second half of the meeting.
Sure.
And then we'll check.
So we're going to have three motions on the minutes. The first one is 11:22, the first half. Commissioner Reddick.
I move we approve the revised minutes for the first half of the November 22 meeting.
I second the motion.
We have a first and a second. Roll call.
Sorry, I was on mute. Commissioner Reddick,
Yes.
Commissioner Gossett was not on there. She was absent. Okay,
right,
so you're abstaining.
Right.
You're abstaining. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm just trying to keep track myself. Vice Chair Hernandez
Aye.
and Chair Gorn.
Yes, please.
So motion approved 3-0.
And then,
Second half.
so we have our second motion is on the second half of 1122. Commissioner Reddick.
I move we approve the revised minutes for the second half of November 22 meeting.
Okay.
We have a second. Second from Gossett.
Okay.
Roll call, please, not including me.
Yeah. Commissioner Reddick,
Yes.
Commissioner Gossett,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Hernandez.
Aye.
Motion approved 3-0.
And then our last one is 1025.
Yeah. And
There were, I
Cool.
believe, 2 people absent from that as well, but
yes, Hernandez and Benjamin.
right. Commissioner Reddick,
I move we approve the October 25 minutes.
second.
I second that.
We have a first and second roll call.
Okay. Commissioner Reddick,
Yes.
Commissioner Gossett,
Yes.
and Chair Gorn.
Okay, thank you. Yes, please.
There we go. 3-0.
So we're good.
Mhm.
So it's time for public comment on anything that is not on the agenda. So if anyone is in the audience who wants to comment on something that is not listed tonight, now is the time to raise your hand and speak. We do have a speaker.
I'm going to go ahead and allow you to, just give me a second. I was having a little trouble with my timer. So hold on, I'm going to go ahead and let him speak because he's a guest of the night here. Hold on.
Anna, do we need a timer for Jimmy?
No, I'm gonna get it set up for the next, but I think he needs to be able to
Yes.
chat. Let me just allow him to talk.
Thank you.
You can unmute. There you go.
Thank you, commissioners and staff. Good evening. It's Jimmy Benjamin, 400 Pillars Avenue. Remember me. And thank you for those nice remarks. They are returned to you tenfold. We've been enjoying the World Cup here at our house. I don't know about you, but I was reflecting on our role in the past and your role in the future as Planning Commission. And I think you are the referee for acceptable development, and you are the goalkeeper for coastal access and the protection of coastal resources. And to do that job, just like a goalkeeper, the analogy is useful because we have to know the law. We have to really understand the law. We have to see clearly what's going on the field, even when it's away from where the ball is. And we need to rely on the help of our linesmen. And we need to be willing to change our call sometimes or make the hard decisions that are unpopular sometimes. In addition, because the job doesn't take place over 90 minutes, but over generations, we have to think systematically. We have to think long-term. We have to understand that the impacts of our decisions accumulate over distance and time and numbers of projects. They go from headwaters to upstream to downstream to the beach to the ocean. And we have to see the interactions between the decisions that we make, even when they're not obvious. We are a public resource. You are a public resource to educate the public, create and maintain an organizational memory, and bring new blood into the planning process. We have to inspire that next generation of people all the time. I have like another page full of notes, but I'm not going to bore you with them because I don't know, I just feel like doing something different tonight. And instead, I'll just offer you my real heartfelt gratitude for the privilege of working with you, each of you. You bring great strengths to the process. You understand the problems the city faces in ways that most citizens don't. And you know how to transform the distance between common sense solutions and the law. And that's the essential function that we have to perform. in this job that you've taken on. So as Commissioner Gorn warned you, you're probably not done with me yet. I see this as an opportunity to approach city planning from a different perspective. I'm sure you'll all get sick of me at oral communications, and staff will get sick of me at the counter. But know that it's for the good, and doing this allows me to protect the integrity of the commission away from the potential appearance of a conflict of interest, as there are several items near my property that I would not be able to communicate on, that I need to communicate on for the good of my citizen neighbors, for the good of the critical resource SAM plant, and for the city and visitors at large. So I hope this turns out to have been a good decision to make space to do that. And I know that there will be other great commissioners. This institution is certainly bigger than any one of us. And you'll bring on a great attitude and welcome to that commissioner and help them come on board and learn what they bring to bear and help them be fruitful in this role. Your staff has been the most delightful that I've had a chance to work with since 1999. And I'd like to extend my thanks to them. I've really enjoyed the camaraderie with Jill, and she won't be able to shake me off. Winter is probably too far away, so she doesn't realize how much I appreciate her, but I do. Bridget, lovely, powerful, incredibly functional. Love your notes. Don't change anything. Congratulations, Scott, on your new appointment as a senior planner. I think it's a great responsibility, and to whom much is given, much is expected. So I look forward to seeing this work and knowing that you're going to be doing a great job, and you have a great staff and commission to help you and get feedback from. So please take advantage of them and the public as we move forward. And with that, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go read a book. I'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so next public comment I have is Mike Ferreira.
Tough act to follow.
Yes, I hadn't dialed in to have to say goodbye to Jimmy. Jimmy and I actually came on the Planning Commission together back in the late 90s and participated in large decisions, one of which was the planning of the parallel trail to Highway 1, which is a good, fond memory. Jimmy was a great contributor to that. The actual reason that I called in was just to refresh on something that I called in about before, which was the school district's purported plan to pave the foothill alignment. And my prior experience with the school district is they like to avoid the city's jurisdiction. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing that now, but Jill told me that they're having discussions. And so I just wanted to say that if that is still a problem, that I'd be certainly willing to ask for a dispute resolution at the Coastal Commission, which is a process that isn't used very often in Half Moon Bay's history, but it's something that's available to us under the Coastal Act. That is a very, very dangerous intersection with Highway 92. And very clearly, you don't pave a road to not want to use it. And that really needs to be controlled by Caltrans and the city and the Coastal Commission or whatever. So I'm just really concerned that this might evade the deft touch of people who know how to plan these things. So that's my only comment. And thank you for all the work you do. And Jimmy isn't here, so I can't say goodbye to him. I'll probably text him. Talk to you later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Is there anyone else in the public who wants to speak? I am seeing none. So, oops, we have one more.
Oh. I have Kevin and Rebecca.
Kevin and Rebecca, do you have something that's not on the agenda tonight?
Oh, sorry. I have something that's on the agenda.
Okay. All right. So we'll have you speak in just a couple of minutes.
Okay.
After the presentation. So we're going to close public comment now, and we're going to go to our first item, which is a use permit for hard liquor at 724 Main. We have our senior planner presenting on this one, Scott Phillips.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Planning Commission. Nice to see everyone this evening, and certainly Commissioner Benjamin will be missed, and such nice words, departing words from him. So much appreciated. I'll go ahead and give a quick PowerPoint presentation to get everyone up to speed on this item. All right, so this item involves a use permit for distilled spirits at 724 Main Street. And this slide shows an aerial photograph of the site. And now the existing business is 730 Main Street. Sacrilege currently operates a restaurant there that includes beer and wine sales. And it's directly adjacent to the south of the subject property at 724 Main Street. Now, the owners of Sacrilege recently acquired a lease agreement for the building at 724 Main Street. And former home of Arc North Indian Cuisine Restaurant, or otherwise known as Arc Grill, shown in green. The owners are proposing to open a new business at that location known as Velvet Hippo, which would be a bar serving distilled spirits, as well as food service as an ancillary use. Now, Arc Grill operated there at 724 Main Street for many years. And during that time, the city actually approved a coastal development permit, use permit, and parking exception to allow the construction of a 2-story detached residential unit in the back of the restaurant. And that was all built and final per plan. And now a use permit is requested to allow for the sale of distilled spirits and installation of a new bar within the existing restaurant space. No expansion of use would be involved with the installation of the bar and sale of distilled spirits. Food preparation would be offered as more of an accessory to the bar use. And the Velvet Hippo would be open from roughly 4 to 11 Wednesday through Saturday, with occasional open after hours special occasion type events, such as private parties and maybe a New Year's event, but no outdoor seating or noise generating activities associated with the bar would take place. Occasionally indoor music would take place within the restaurant bar space. And, fairly simple. It's no expansion of use. Now, this is a little bit different than what the Planning Commission is used to seeing. There actually isn't a coastal development permit associated with this proposal. And it's kind of a rare situation where it's just a use permit. Now, the noticing requirement turns out to be the same for use permit versus coastal development permit. And we sent notices all to the neighbors within 300 feet and posted the site. And then there's also the legal notice requirement, which took place prior to the meeting. And now the appeal period is a little bit different. Normally with a coastal development permit, there's a 5 or a 10 working day appeal period. This actually has a 10 calendar day appeal period. So slightly different than the coastal development permit. This slide shows the site plan, basically from when the new residential unit was approved in construction in the back of the restaurant. No exterior change. So 2 parking spaces were approved with the parking exception and use permit for the residential unit. 1 sort of in the front, and then 1 underneath sort of the southern carport parking stall that's van accessible ADA parking. So that would remain as is, similar to the restaurant. Now, as far as the floor plan, you'll see that this shows where the new bar would be installed, along with some new electrical, some lighting on the inside, some can lighting and some modifications to the electrical, necessitating a building permit. So this will require the business owner to submit for a building permit, primarily for the electrical. Now, a few things for the Planning Commission to consider: compliance with our land use plan and zoning code. I'll touch upon these 2. As far as land use compatibility, the property is located in the CG land use designation, and the site was initially developed with a single-family residence. The building was converted to a restaurant roughly in 2008, and several restaurants were kind of turned over since that time. And last one was like I mentioned, the Art Grill. And let's see, land use policies and our downtown specific plan encourage restaurants as an appropriate visitor serving use in this district. Now, as far as zoning code, the key thing is that there are specific findings associated with the use permit and, for the distilled spirit sales. And you'll find in the packet that we did draft the findings for the use permit and found that, the sale of distilled spirits does fit into the neighborhood, and in that we don't have any other distilled spirit sales, at least on the 700 block of Main Street. And, the business owner, he currently runs a business to the south and is familiar with what it takes to operate a bar business. And that, the operations are very similar with, beer and wine. CEQA, this is kind of an interesting thing. The commission actually reviewed a similar proposal several years back at Pasta Moon. And, the installation of the bar and distilled spirit sales within an existing business is not necessarily considered a project under CEQA. Now, the granting of a use permit is a discretionary act, but the use permit only allows for sale of distilled spirits in the restaurant space. So no anticipated environmental impact would take place from this. Now, we recommend the Planning Commission hold a public hearing and conduct deliberation on this proposal. We are recommending approval, and we have drafted the resolution for approval. We did receive one, as Bridget mentioned earlier, we did receive an email of support, and that is available on our website. The owner of the business is also logged in this evening. He's available for any questions as well as I am. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. So we're going to open this up now to public comment on this particular agenda item. So anyone in the public who wants to speak on this, now is the time to raise your hand. We do have a couple, including the owners. Bridget, do you want to let them in?
Yes. Looks like we have Kevin, Janet, and Rebecca Ralph.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you. I'm Rebecca Ralph. I'm here with my husband, Kevin. I drew the short straw to do the speaking on our behalf tonight. We live here in Half Moon Bay and just want to voice our strong support for the use permit at Velvet Hippo. It's exciting to see another business going into where the Arc Grill used to be. And we think this will be a welcome addition to the south end of Main Street. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We did have another hand up, but I guess that is now gone. Is there anyone else in the public who would like to comment on this item? Now's the time to speak. I am not seeing anyone. So I'm closing public comment.
Oh.
I am opening up. Oops, wait.
I think the owner might want to speak, or the applicant. Let me ask.
I am reopening public comment.
Yeah, this is Joe. Go ahead. You can unmute.
Go ahead.
There you go. Go ahead.
Joe?
Are you there? Go ahead.
You have to unmute.
He's unmuted. Joe, you can speak if you'd like. It's not working.
He may be having technical difficulties.
Yeah, he's unmuted, so I don't know if he's having some technical difficulties.
Just wait a minute, see how he does. Okay, I think we're gonna close public comment. I don't see his hand up anymore, so we'll close public comment. We'll open this up to commissioners. Anyone have any questions or concerns about this? Commissioner Ruddick?
No, I don't have any questions. I note that the staff report details for us that the land use plan encourages restaurant usage such as this. I personally, over the years, have had the pleasure of observing the extra life and vitality that the Arc and Sacrilege Brewing have brought to this part of Main Street. I note that the staff report quotes the applicants as saying there will be no additional noise producing activities here. So I'm all in favor of this application. Thank you.
Thank you. I did have a quick question for staff. Scott, I was curious about the parklet. Is there any reason that hard alcohol use is not permitted outside, that it only needs to stay in the restaurant? Because we have the parklet very close. If someone's going to go into the Velvet Hippo, they're going to come out and sit outside. Is that okay? There's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yes, as it stands right now, the distilled spirit sales is limited to inside.
Oh, it is inside.
So,
Okay. So there's no plan to expand the parklet because they can't come out?
Not at this point.
Okay. And so how is the city monitoring that? And also this sort of like any expansion of use, which they're saying there's no expansion of use, but how's the city monitoring that? Can you explain?
So yeah, so it would be an enforcement. So if we did receive complaints or notice that the distilled spirit sales had sort of expanded it out beyond the restaurant, then that's something that we would enforce and if need be, modify the use permit. So, or,
That's what I just want to get on the record. Thank you. Anyone else have a comment, question, concern? Vice Chair Hernandez. No?
I'm very supportive of a project on this site. This seems like a good use in keeping with building vitality on this part of Main Street. And I think that Sacrilege has become a real anchor to that part of downtown. And I put my full-throated endorsement behind this project.
Thank you. Commissioner Gossett.
Thank you, Scott, for the presentation, and congratulations on your promotion to senior planner. I would also like to echo my fellow Commissioner Ruddick and Hernandez and say that I support the project and like seeing something new go into that space, and just to help promote the vitality of our downtown, I think is a good thing. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, between all the art centers down there and in Sacrilege, and now this one, that's really changed the character of that area. Little much more lively. Do we have a motion from anyone? We have Commissioner Ruddick.
I move we approve the resolution at hand.
Do we have a second?
I second that.
Commissioner Ruddick seconds. Commissioner Gossett seconds. Thanks. Roll call, please.
Yes, Commissioner Ruddick,
Yes.
Commissioner Gossett,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hernandez,
Yes.
and Chair Gorn. Is muted.
Yes, please.
Yes, motion carries.
So we move on to our next topic, which is our permit status update. Doug Garrison is gonna present on the Half Moon Bay High School cellular antenna.
Good evening. For the record, I'm Doug Garrison, the senior planner. I've been working on this project for a few years, and pretty sure a couple of the commissioners, this project's been here in various versions for a few years, so I think it's new to a couple of commissioners. And it's been about a year since the last time we were at the Planning Commission, and so this is just to let people know what's been going on, what the current status is. So it all started with replacement of the stadium lights at the football field at the high school. And I guess I want to make sure everybody understands, no action is going to be taken on the permit tonight. This is just an informational update. So we had an application, I think 2016, to replace the football field lights. One complication was there was an existing AT&T cell antenna mounted on one of the light standards, and that would have to be removed. And so eventually the solution was to build a new cell tower not too far away. And the two projects went forward under separate permits. So the stadium lights were approved as one permit, and then the cell phone tower was approved as a different file. That was PDP 19-021. And it went to hearing, was approved on May 28, 2019. At that time, there were some limits on the length of that permit. There was, I think, some discomfort with the location by some members of the Planning Commission, some of the neighbors. And so to keep things moving along, we termed that permit to the length of their existing lease with the school district. So the permit for the tower would have expired on January 1st, 2022. And then last year, about the same time, December 14th, we had another hearing to extend that permit. And the Planning Commission did that for a period of up to 2 years, but also imposed some milestones on that permit to ensure that 2 years down the road, we were not, really ready to go with anything. And so there are some milestones that have to have been met, and that's really what the update is about. And so when we started out, I worked with the school district and the applicant, looked at a few different locations. It narrowed down to 2 locations. So the milestone was we'd do this preliminary review. The location would go to the school board. If they approved it, then the applicant had to submit their application to the city within 60 days of the district approval, but no later than June 1st of this year. At the time, we anticipated that we might be back to the Planning Commission for a hearing on the permit this fall, October or November. And since that has come and gone, that's part of why we wanted to come back. If the city approves the new location, then the school district's a little bit different. They don't go through the city to get a building permit. All of that goes through the state architect's office. So it goes there for approval. And then under the terms of the permit extension, they would have to have construction completed by January 1st, 23. So when we started out on this, we looked at a few different sites. There was one preferred site that the school district staff, city staff agreed would be the better location. And that was over along the south property line, sort of next to Andrini Brothers aggregate yard. So in February 22, that site and one other site were presented to the school board. They selected the same site that the city liked over on the southern boundary. And so the applicant did submit their application to us in April, so they met that milestone. City was reviewing that application, and there was a glitch, which apparently was some additional title research and surveying work. It was determined that this location was in an unused PG&E utility easement. And so the school district and the applicant worked with PG&E on securing the right to develop there. PG&E would not go along with that. And so we sort of stopped in our tracks. And that alternative location that was sent to the school board back in February is now the current proposal. It's at the southwest end of the track. And that is at the school board meeting tonight, right now, basically. And if they approve that location, then city will jump back into it. So just for context, this area in the red circle, that was the PG&E site that didn't work out. As a refresher, this is where the existing antenna is. There's a steep hill that drops down from the main campus to the baseball field area and the refreshment stand. It's tucked in right at the toe of that slope there. And where it would be moved on the current proposal is down to this corner here. It's a flat area. There's a little bit of a clearing. It is pretty well screened with some mature trees, although some of them, the health is not that great. So, as I said, if the school board approves this location tonight, we will dive back into this. review of this, we'll be looking at new visual simulations, all the technical reports. And if everything goes smoothly, we anticipate this could come back for a formal hearing at the Planning Commission in late January or February. So I would note the project is delayed because of this sort of mid-course change in location. We think it still is on track to meet the permit deadlines. Construction would have to be completed by January 1st, 2024. So that would be a little bit of a rush. And so that's really it. I don't know. It's not a formally noticed item. I let the city attorney weigh in on how much we can really discuss this new proposal. But again, this was really just, it's been quiet for a year and we wanted to make sure everybody knew where things stood. So I'm available for any questions. I think the applicant is tied up at the school board meeting right now. They may join us, we'll see.
Thank you. Thanks, Doug. So let's open it up to the public. There is someone with their hand raised.
Yes.
We want to open up public comment. Anyone in the public who wants to comment on this agenda item, please raise your hand. We'll get you in here.
All right. The first person we have is the Garrity's.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hi, thank you very much. This is Frank Garrity. First of all, I just want to give big thanks to Doug and to Jill for staying on top of this issue and for providing this update to the community tonight. Even though it's partway through the application process, this is really great communication. Just a few points I'd like to make as you continue through the application process. We saw that you had, as you just demonstrated, you had one location south of Lewis Foster Drive that didn't work out. Just wondering if you've considered any other locations further from public view, maybe above the pool area or the tennis court area, that little parking lot area, or the road that CUSD is potentially, planning on paving anywhere up in that area. Another thing to consider. Second point I want to make is just ask if wherever the final location is, if it is in the proposed location tonight, will you require a story pole be erected so that the public can see the height and mass of the structure from all directions, coming up Lewis Foster, from town, from the highway, all directions. Third thing I would like to ask is, when the pole does get erected, this tower does get erected, can it be one of those fake tree looking ones? I know they look very fake. They're not realistic at all, but at least they're a dark green versus a bright, shiny silver. Big thing, structure. One other point was just questioning how high will the total elevation be on this pole? Will it be at your drawing's a little unclear. I'm not sure if it's at the field level, the base of the pole, the tower will be at the field level, or will it be the higher level of the parking lot or somewhere up that slope? So just want to ensure that the total elevation will be no higher than the elevation of the current tower. And finally, last thing, I just want to ensure that when the application is put together here, or the permit, that no lights will be allowed on the tower. No lights to light up the field or the parking area or anything else that would be visible to the public. So that was my comments tonight. Again, thank you very much for staying on top of it and providing the update. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Frank Garrity. Those are all great questions. I don't see anyone else with their hand raised in public comment in the public. So I'm going to close public comment and we can open this up to commissioners. So no one has a question, Commissioner Ruddick?
Well, I thank you, Chair. I believe that you were inviting the city attorney to give us some guidance on what type of discussion is appropriate tonight. I'd welcome some guidance on that.
I'm happy to provide some through the chair.
Jean, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, this was an agendized item, so you can ask questions, get clarification, and express opinions on the information that you have heard. We're just not taking action. There's no proposal to take action, but I think it would be useful to provide comments and questions at this point.
Is that clear? Okay.
Thank you.
Doug, maybe you want to start with answering Frank Garrity's questions, because there were 5 really good questions.
I'd be happy to. On the first question, did we look at other locations? The answer is yes. Initially, there was sort of preliminary. We looked at, I think there was a location up behind the high school, closer to the hillside going up behind there. And it sort of, for one reason or another, a couple of those sites just wouldn't work for everybody. And it came down to these last 2 sites were sort of the best that seemed to work for all the parties involved. One of the concerns back in 2019 was the proximity to the houses off to the north where Mr. Garrity lives. One of the things we liked about the PG&E site was it was as far away from residents as you could get, and it was next to a industrial site, basically. So this is where we are. On the second question, story polls, we've found that's pretty difficult to do with cell towers. We've relied on visual simulations to show what it would look like from different viewpoints. I think potentially you could bring in a crane and have it vertical up to the, to show the location. But as far as constructing something there, there's actually a lot of engineering involved in putting up something that doesn't fall down, that's a single pole going that high. On the fake tree, yes, they are proposing a fake tree. And we'll have some visual simulations that show, I think they did send some of those over to the school board meeting. Those haven't been formally submitted to the city yet. We did approve another pole disguised as a tree over on Kelly Avenue last year. Hasn't been constructed yet, so we don't have a real world example of it. Hopefully that'll get going. On the heights, this one, what they're asking for is, I believe, 72 feet. The existing pole is 50 feet. So this will require a height exception, which is discretionary. The Planning Commission can approve that or not. It's really on the applicant's shoulders to justify the basis for that request. My understanding is that it's to facilitate future co-location of another carrier's antenna, and that is a priority in our land use policies and zoning code, as well as state and federal law. But again, that's something, once we have all the visual sims and more information to work with, that's why we have hearings for these things.
Lights.
Oh, on the question of the base height, this is, I believe, pretty close to level with where the track goes around the football field. It's not up on a elevated hill outside of there. So it's, the base, I think, should be relatively close to the base of the existing one, but it may vary some. We'll pin that down when we get into it. No lights are proposed on this. They would not be required by the FAA for airplane safety and that sort of thing. I think that's all the questions.
That's all I saw. I was curious if you've, I assume that you've checked in with the owners of the Podesta property because that's very close to their development. Just want to make sure that that you are doing that.
At this point, it's been on sort of a hiatus until we found out where it was going. But yeah, that is a good point. It is something that they should be made aware of.
But it's pretty close to them. This one is pretty close to them. And if you can do the crane, I think that would be a great idea. That'd be wonderful because 72 feet is pretty tall. So, any other questions or concerns that people have? So we're not Commissioner Gossett. Yes.
Doug, welcome back. Nice to see you. I wanted to know, is there a standard height for poles like this?
In the telecommunications industry,
Yes.
and city regulations?
Both.
Well, I'm not a telecommunications engineer, but essentially it's line of sight to all their other towers and the ground facilities. And the engineers figure that part out, what they need to connect all the pieces together. And it's some of it, like I said, sometimes they're trying to make connections to facilities that are very nearby, some that are further away. We'll get more information from the applicant on, like I said, how they came up with this height. I think one of the big conundrums with cell towers is nobody really likes really tall ones, but if you don't have a really tall one, sometimes you have 2 or 3 shorter ones. So it's kind of a balancing act. What would be allowed under our zoning right now is 50 feet. So this would be quite a bit higher, 22 feet over that, if it's approved that way.
And the one on Kelly, if I remember right, was more than 50 feet, right? Wasn't that a 60?
I believe it was about 60 feet. Okay. And that was kind of an unusual one where because of some state law, we really couldn't say no to it. We didn't have much discretion. This one's a little bit different. I don't think it falls under that clause in state law or federal law.
And is there anything else around it right now, like other trees?
There are some, quite a few trees. They're mature trees. They're probably roughly the same height.
That seems like that. That's right.
Some of those are Monterey pines. I haven't been able to get out there and look at this site in person just because of some mobility problems. Hope to soon. Some of those trees are healthy. Some of them, like I said, the pines are a little questionable. So we'll have to take a little bit closer look at the health of those trees. But at this point, I think to the extent that a fake tree can blend in, it would probably blend in pretty well with the existing trees.
Thank you. Vice Chair Hernandez, are you raising your hand or no? You're not.
Yeah, this project's been in the works for a long time. My daughter was matriculating 8th grader going into Half Moon Bay High School when we first saw this, and now she's a graduating senior. So I'm pleased at the location that they've come up with here. I think this is good. They've had a couple of locations that were closer to where the classrooms were, and they've kind of found a place and pushed it away. from the classrooms. And so I think that it's a nice touch by the applicant. And there are stadium light poles in addition to some Monterey pine, and I think maybe a couple of Monterey cypress in that area as well. So, and I'm supportive of the camouflaging the pole as a tree. I think that's a nice touch as well. So just my feedback on the project.
Thank you. Anyone else? We do have Commissioner Ruddock.
Thank you, Chair Gorn.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel a little awkward pontificating much on this with the school board considering it at this moment, but I will echo everything that Vice Chair Hernandez just said. With apparently superior location to the current one and some good aspects to what is intended, but I'd like to not deliberate more on it until the school board actually makes a decision. Thank you.
Right. So we're not deciding anything anyway. We're just getting a quick update. Are there any other questions or concerns anyone has? Well, thank you. Thanks, Doug. So when do we hear this again? We hear this maybe in the fall.
Well,
is that what you said?
If the school board approves this location, then we will jump back into it and start doing the evaluation of this site from a city land use plan zoning perspective. And if everything goes smoothly, we're going to try and get it back to the Planning Commission late January, maybe February for a hearing. Like I said, they still have to go through the state architect's office, which can take a while. And then scheduling construction when there's school kids running around, that's always a little bit of an issue. So we are going to try and get this one to a hearing as soon as we can, because they still have a couple more hurdles to get through after that, assuming it's approved.
Okay. Thank you very much. We have come to the director's report. This director, Julie.
Hi there. Do I still have the feedback? Oh, shoot. I've been playing around. I'll try to go quickly. Well, we want to thank the commission. This is your last meeting of 2022, and Scott already acknowledged Commissioner Benjamin, and we are, of course, very appreciative of the time that he spent with us as staff, and we'll be reaching out to him with a card. Bridget will, she prepares plaques for our outgoing commissioners, and we're kind of looking ahead to when you may be starting to meet again in person, which could be late winter, early spring, and maybe there'd be an opportunity to us have former Commissioner Benjamin and former Commissioner Polgar also tuck in and just say hi. We miss seeing them. That sounds good to you? Okay, we'll take a look at how to pull that off. Your agenda forecast for January. We have a lot of end of year things going on. We're not sure if we're going to be able to pull together a package for you for your January 10th meeting. We'll let you know right away if we're going to cancel that. The city council cancels their first meeting of the year. They won't be meeting on the 3rd. We will see you for sure on January 24th. And often at the beginning of the year, we like to just do some kind of checking in on things a little bit. Some groups do retreats. We can check in on Brown Act or any questions that you've had. I know a couple of you have had some training, and that's brought questions and thoughts about practice and managing the meetings. So we're happy to entertain any of those topics if you'd like. Let's see here. Moving over to City Council. Last week, they received an update on the Heritage Main Street Ordinance. This is something that was actually moved through the commission and was a recommendation to council in early 2020. Thinking about that timing, it's very interesting that that ordinance was adopted in early 2020. It was certified by the Coastal Commission in, I think, April or May 2020. So it was right when everything shut down. One of the things that we had committed to doing was take inventory of vacancies and other conditions on the ground floor of the 4 blocks that were defined as Heritage Main Street. It really didn't make sense to do that during the first couple of years of COVID, but we have now taken an inventory and presented it to council last week. Joe Butcher did that, and we'd be happy to bring that to you. I think you'll be really interested to see the shifts that have taken. We actually have fewer vacancies than we did back in the end of 2019. And we have less office frontage than we did at that time as well. We understand that not all of our businesses are absolutely thriving right now. They've been really going through hard times. But that said, they are kind of the toehold of Main Street, and the character of it has really held on. And we've got 2 new murals, and we've got a building that was approved at Main and Kelly that is coming into the city now for its building permits. So there's a lot of activity downtown, and we'd be happy to give you some more updates about that early in 2023. Council also had a first reading on an update of the California Building Code, the local amendments. This is a tri-annual update. It's required every 3 years. They will have a second reading next week on their consent calendar. Council's meeting next week will include a State of the City address by the mayor, and it will also have our annual Measure D report on the consent calendar as well. The Architectural Advisory Committee is meeting a week early on their agenda. They have 2 items, 2800 Champs-Élysées and 419 Garcia Avenue. These are both new homes. We're not sure if they can hear or review 2800 Champs at this point. We have one member who's not able to make the meeting and another one who's conflicted. So we're still juggling around a bit. But these are, Champs has been before the commission in the past. This is a redesign, and we are trying to get a thorough design review process through the Architectural Advisory Committee before we bring it back to this commission. Your item tonight on the use permit, we may be seeing a more permanent parklet installation for the adjacent business, the Sacrilege business. That will be processed through the new sidewalk and parklet uses program that this commission approved as a coastal development permit. It has a sort of an administrative oversight, but it requires design review. So any design that comes forward would be going through the Architectural Advisory Committee. Aspects of any proposal that don't conform to that program would very likely come to you. But in this case, we're expecting a conforming proposal. And I think the last couple of things, we are working on follow-up with the Coastal Commission staff to get our short-term rental ordinance on their February agenda. They saw it in October. The Coastal Commission wanted to give a commission staff and city staff more time to discuss some compromises that the city that we had proposed. And we've been working on that, and there was no way we could get back to them for a December hearing. In fact, this is their hearing week. And the Coastal Commission does not meet in January. So our goal is to get onto their February agenda, and we'll keep you posted if we're able to get on that. With the winter holidays, City Hall is closed on the week of 26th through the 30th. And I just want to note, we're also closed on the 23rd, and we return on January 3rd. We do have on-call building inspector in the event of any emergencies, public works or building inspection emergencies. It's on our website. It's posted on the front door of City Hall. It will be on our voicemail. And of course, our public works crew will be on call as well. So all the folks that would need to be out in the field are available and can be brought forward should anything come up. But your office staff folks will probably not be at City Hall. So we'll miss you guys, and we had a big year, and thank you for that. And sorry about the long report. We just wanted to get caught up a bit.
Jill, is there any way you could send me what you'd sent to the Coastal Commission? What the considerations were that you sent?
I can. I'm having a final review maybe at the end of the week.
Okay.
We'll get that over to you. Yeah, be happy to. They will post it also on their website.
And Vice Chair Hernandez?
I just wanted to, is that the end of your report, Jill?
Okay. So Commissioner.
I was just waiting for Planning Commissioner comments. That's all.
Go ahead.
So I just wanted to thank the city for the Night of Lights. It was a phenomenal event. I was able to participate in that downtown. It was nice to see everybody out again. And the last 3 years have been a real slog. And I know city staff has been working tirelessly to move many projects forward. And so just wanted to express my gratitude at the conclusion of another year. And I hope you all have a lovely break from the 23rd through the 3rd of January. And the other thing that I wanted to say is this is not an agenda item, so I don't want to create a bunch of discussion on it, but there is a project that is being proposed to complete the East Side Parallel Trail from Main Street to Moonridge, and Coastside on Bikes is promoting that, and they're going to one of the county planning agencies to get support for it. So if you know Marin Holt, and if you're supportive of this project, I would encourage folks to reach out to her and make your voice heard. It's a worthy project to connect the south end of town to Moonridge, Ocean Colony, and Kenyatta Cove. So it's great for getting cars off the road. I'm excited to hopefully that portion of the trail will be completed, and hopefully in 2023 we can make some progress on the rest of the parallel East Side Trail. I see bits and pieces of it north of Main Street, so I'm excited about that.
And Commissioner Reddick.
I just wanted to add my thanks to Director Ekus and her team in community development, City Attorney Witter King, and all the folks at City Hall. I know how hard you've worked in the face of adversity this year, and I hope you really do enjoy a break and a time to celebrate at the holidays and the end of the year, and we'll all come back refreshed for the new year. Thank you.
Well, thanks very much. While we're on Nights of Lights, maybe I can publicly thank Bridget for finding my daughter on Night of Lights. I love that we live in a small town where there's no panic when you are missing your daughter. You just have to wait until someone brings her to you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna tear up because it was emotional. I'm super grateful to live in a community that has a lot of good friends, and a friend of mine called me and we connected, and yeah, there she was. So we were able to piece it all together. The sheriffs were there at one point, and he's like, I didn't do anything. It was all about you guys and community and figuring it out together and so forth. So it was pretty, in a really stressful situation, it was pretty heartfelt. So I was glad to help.
Thank you so much. So I think everyone is done. I think we're done with our meeting if we have a motion to adjourn.
Mm-hmm.
I make a motion to adjourn.
That is Vice Chair Hernandez. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
That's Commissioner Gossett.
Commissioner
Roll call,
Reddick,
please.
I vote yes.
Commissioner Gossett,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hernandez,
Aye.
and Chair Gordon.
Yes, please.
Motion to approve.
Thanks.
Or adjourn, I'm sorry.
All right.
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas
Merry
all.
Christmas.
Take care.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Holidays.
Be